So I just don't. I don't see this becoming a success. They might sell a lot of games. They might get a lot of players for the first couple of weeks, but I don't think it's gonna hold out and become a successful game like that. I don't. I don't see that happening. Um, it's too much like a D3 clone. It's basically it feels like um, they took D3 and ported it into this game. Then they took the D2 graphical tones, let me just say that, like the colored scheme of D2, and that's the D2 flavor we get. It's the color scheme of the game, right? And if they didn't really listen to what people was complaining about Diablo 3, and the reason Diablo 3 is a dead-ass game, whereas Diablo 2 is live and thriving still to this day, is because, yeah, the graphics in Diablo 3 was not what we were looking for at all, and we definitely didn't like that as a community. It was too much World of Warcraft, too little Diablo feel over it, right? Now that being said, that's not the only thing that was wrong with that game. But it feels like they listened and heard that's the only thing that's wrong with that game. That's what it feels like after playing this. I have a Historic level 25. I have this Necromancer level 25. I'm playing the Necro right now because it's just ridiculously OP. Like completely stupidly OP. It's just beyond any of the other classes, right? Like, there's none of the other classes can keep up with this shit. It's beyond broken in my opinion. It's not something I would consider being a good build per se, because it's gotta get nerfed at some point. There's no way they're leaving this being this much like this powerful compared to everything else. There's just no way.
I'm not ready
Um,
yet.
that being said, I feel like they really missed the mark on what they could have done. They could have made a true continuation of Diablo 2. And instead of doing that, what is basically what we all wanted, or most of us, there is a little percentage of people that still feel like Diablo 3 is a good game. More power to you if you like that
I
game.
lack the
I
required
guess that's
essence.
cool. I just personally do not. I really dislike that shit. It's one of the worst games I've ever played. The only part of Diablo 3 I really liked was when they put out the ethereals from Diablo 2. Then it made it a little bit more enjoyable, but it still wasn't on par with what I like. Um, it's definitely closer, but not at all. It was enough to save that shit. That was, by the way, that was way past the lifespan
I'm
of that
low
game.
on
It was
essence.
season 24 or something like that. I played it for the first, I don't know, like 7 seasons or something like that, and then I was so bored of that game that I just had to like get off of it and not play it. And I didn't come back from season 7 to season 24. Season 24 was when I came back to that game and played it again, which should tell you a little bit about how like that should indicate how bad that stuff actually is, right? When that's well, when that's
I'm not
where
ready
we
yet.
are, when that's when you get back to a game, if you don't play it for that many seasons and it's meant to be a game you play every season, then that's really bad. That's just really, really, really bad.
I need more time. I need more time.
I'm still killing though. So yeah, again, it's just It's the way they made it, man. It's yeah. The most of the models of the enemies are reused models from either D2 or D3 in terms of names and looks, but they don't possess the flavor that it had in D2. So, what's the point? There is, they have tuned the drop rate for the beta. I understand that, but even if they cut this down by 200%, it's still gonna feel like you're gaining a lot of gear extremely fast, right? So it's, I don't, I'm not a fan of that shit. I'm a fan of having chase items, having rare stuff that you might not find for the next 10 years of playing this game, if that makes sense. In Diablo 2 we have those type of items that are absolute chase items that are, when you find one, you are freaking out. And not only that, we have items that are so rare, just that aren't chase items, like a Death Fathom or Burr Runes or Griffins or whatever. Like if you know, you know. Those items you still kind of freaking out when you find one, right? Because it's just, you know, it's so rare. It's not something that happens constantly. It's not something that happens every week. If that makes sense. It might not even be something that
I'm
happens
low on
every
essence.
month. So, not saying that they have to put that in to make the game good, but I'm saying that's one of the things that are definitely missing to make the game incredible, to make it to where it feels like, okay, this is a Diablo game. This is not just a copy-pasted version of Diablo Immortal or something like that.
My burden is too great.
And I feel like they missed out on the weaponized, like the weapons and the itemization, because it's in Diablo 2 it's very intricate. It's a lot of different stuff going on at once. There's massive amount of stats on the game and on the items, on the rune words, on everything, and you have to have a really good understanding of
I'm low on
the different
essence.
things and what they do to know what's best for the build you're rocking. And I don't feel like this game provides that at all. The items are very straightforward and very easy to understand what's going on and what you want and how you want to do it. It's too easy. It and after looking up, like yesterday evening, I was looking up other people playing the game, like other streamers and stuff, just to get an overall understanding of what people are saying, what they're playing, and all this stuff. And here's the thing: wouldn't, like, literally everybody I was watching have the exact same builds as I have, basically. And what that tells me is that this is just, that's the flavor, right? Like it's basically it's super simple. If you know something about this type of game, we're all gonna be running around with the exact same freaking builds. There's gonna be absolutely no difference, because it's simply just better, right, than the rest of the shit. So why would you ever go with something that aren't as good, that's not gonna have the clear speed when the shit is this boring and you have to do the same shit over and over and over and over and over? Not saying you don't have to do that in Diablo 2, but at least in Diablo 2 there is a reward for it. Here it doesn't feel like there's a real reward at the end. And we, as I said, we don't have the chase items. It doesn't seem like that's a thing in this game. It doesn't seem like. I feel like it's more gonna be like Diablo 2 or Diablo 3, where you have the primals, and yeah, the primals are rare, but they ain't anywhere as rare as the chase items in Diablo 2. They're literally, I have personally never found a pair of 640 javelins. I've never found a J mod, and I've played the game for 15 years. So why are we? What's the end game goal? That's what I'm thinking. Like, what is the thing that you want to obtain at the end of a game's cycle? Right? So when the season ends or whatever, and your characters go to non-season, what is the stuff that you really want to go towards? Your non-seasonal builds is probably going to be your PvP build, right? So you want to be keep stacking up on the damages and the different kinds of stuff, but it feels like after one season you're going to have the gear that you need, and that's it. Now there's no other no other reason to be playing this character, because it's stacked and it's got pretty much whatever it needs. That's not me, man. That is not for me, and it feels really flat, really non-challenging, non-exciting, not. It doesn't have the flavor. It's hard to put your finger on the exact things that are wrong, but because I feel like there's so many things wrong here. Yeah. I wish it was different though. I would definitely put in time on this game if it was different. Now though, I don't feel like it's an $80 to $100 game. I don't feel like it carries that kind of value at all. Not even close. In my opinion, this is more of a $20, maybe $30 game. So I'll treat it as such.
What will it be?
I just won't. Like, I won't be playing it. I won't pay for it. I definitely am not gonna support any other shit, like the store or anything. No way. No freaking way. It's, you look at those items, and I can't help myself feel like that is just not it. At least they didn't do the same as they did in Diablo 2, where they literally gave everybody billions and billions and trillions of damage, you know what I mean? But still, it's, Jesus Christ, this is made for second graders, man. This is made so the kids can be a part of it too, and I understand that they're trying to hit a bigger demographic or whatever, but honest to God, that is just garbage. It's trash, man. That's my honest opinion. It's just so bad. I was hoping for something way more exciting and way more Diablo 2 flavored, less Diablo 3 flavor, but we got the opposite. We got the Diablo 3 clone with a slight Diablo 2 tone, if that makes sense. You saw how I just ran through that shit. I don't even have points in my skellies, my golem, or any of that shit, right? Like no mages points, no warrior points, nothing. They are so strong, they do all the work for me, basically. And if they die and I'm in a boss fight, I just use this one and I basically revive all of them, right? And then on top of that, I have my bone spear that does my main damage, and it makes everything vulnerable. And when everything's vulnerable, the corpse explosion basically takes care of that, and it provides me with the mana regen. So, but I really want this one item that's gonna let me use Blood Mist, and then with Blood Mist, it's gonna trigger a corpse explosion. That would be the #1 way to build, like, to go with this build I got right now. So if I had that on, then it would be absolutely ridiculous how fast I would kill everything. You would look at it and you'd be like, oh my god, this is broken as fuck. Yeah, but as I said, this is what it is, man. It's a D3 clone, which is sad. And at this point in time, as I said, I won't be buying the game for sure. That's 100% guarantee. I won't be playing it either. Maybe a year down the line, maybe 2 years down the line, if they really, really change up like stuff and make it way different than what it is right now. Then yeah, maybe I will. But as it stands, up at this moment in time, there's no freaking way I'm gonna waste my time on this. Honestly, this piece of shit. That's just no freaking way I'm doing that.
Very nice, but could be better.
It's sad, but it's the truth, and it's what I feel, and it's the way I view this game. And I will say the bugs have been minuscule, so at least that's something, because I was expecting, since it's an Activision game, I kind of was expecting this to be horrendous coming when it comes to the when it comes to bugs and all that stuff. I was expecting this to be really, really bad and have just an absurd amount of headaches, but it hasn't been that bad for me. That's not to say that it hasn't been bad for other people, because I definitely have a couple of friends who have had the worst time playing this stuff in terms of bugs and not being able to get into the game and sitting in queues for 2 hours just to get kicked out of the game and then sit another 2 hours in queue. Yeah. But it is what it is, man. I'm gonna sign off and go play Diablo 2. Because this is way too boring for me, man, and it just doesn't provide the level of things that I wanted. Why? See, and that's another weird thing here. So, for some reason, wow, that is mad cool. Definitely grabbing that. That looks fucking insane. I like that helmet look. No, but so if they put that in D2 and made it to where you could use transmarks and you could do all these other things that we have in these kind of games, then I feel like that would be the best game in the world. It wouldn't be anything like it. Wouldn't be any reason to play anything else either. And my understanding is that this is the final part of the skill tree, right? I don't know if I agree with this kind of skill tree, where you level 25 and you have everything unlocked, and you can basically put a point into anything you want. Um, Although in Diablo 2, you like the final skill part gets unlocked at level 30. That doesn't mean that you can at level 30 you can't fill it, right? You can put 1 point in, and then you have to get a level to be 31 to put the next point in, and then 32 to put the next point in, and so on and so forth. So it's a lot more you having to choose certain things over other things in the beginning, and then respec everything, and then make the different, like a build different, and so on. I don't feel like that's necessary here. You can just do whatever you want, basically. Um, Going through the beginning, I really haven't changed that much. I did a couple of things differently, but it's like I tried putting everything into the summons and stuff. Just didn't feel like it was that strong. I tried to do a bunch of the blood magic. It didn't feel super strong either. I still feel like the combo you want is definitely the corpse explosion, bone spirit with blood mist. Like those three combined with each other, it's just so good. It's so good. I tried the curses, didn't really like them too much. It's not like it was in D2 either. They put the names of them, and like Decryptify is from D2, and Iron Maiden is from D2, and amp damage is from D2. You know what I mean? But it's just it's nothing like D2. It's nothing like it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see anything else I can add to this at all. It's pretty much how I view it, man. So I'll get off, and I'll go play some D2, cause that's at least enjoyable. This shit is not. So thank you for watching, and I hope I cleared up a little bit of stuff about the game in terms of what it should have been and whatnot. If you really want to see a change in how they made this and how everything is with this game, I suggest don't buy it. Hold out. Don't buy it in the first year. Show your dissatisfiement by not providing more money to the company that doesn't listen to their player base. That is the one way, the one thing we as a community have that we can say is the voting with our wallets, instead of voting for them to continue this theme. I suggest voting to not continue this theme and stop everything they're doing and start listening to what the community wants, and not just doing the least amount of work for the maximum amount of pay, which is, in my opinion, what this feels like. This feels like they did a tiny amount of work on certain things just so they can cash out, right? If that makes sense. I don't agree with that mentality at all. Diablo 2, they were going hard to get that to where it is, right? And the new developers and the new designers and the new everything within the game is way different than what the original Diablo 2 was, right? So when there's nobody left from the original game, then how would you ever make the next one authentic to the original? Because you have no freaking clue of what the original was and how it was made and what kind of progress went into actually doing that. You're you're not um, you're not understanding the problems we had with Diablo 3. You're not listening to the community, what we've been complaining about for the past 10 years. You're not taking advantage of the opportunities that you could have done. They're just not. They are selling out to make money. So, if any of the developers or anything watches this, cool, but I'm not impressed. That's my opinion. I feel like you guys should sit down and play Diablo 2 for a couple of years, get a really good understanding of what that game's about, get a really good understanding of how it was made and what it took to create it, and how the community was a part of it, and start listening a little bit more to what they say on your community tab, on the news feeds, on all that stuff, because you're definitely not listening. Not even with Diablo 2, you're not listening at all. You're letting the bots go rapidly crazy and ruining the fucking economy. You're letting the hackers on D3 go crazy. And if you think that there's not gonna be hackers on this game, I can already tell you there's gonna be a lot of hackers in this game. Because this is gonna be another one of those games where it's gonna be extremely easy to hack it and make modded items. And I'm talking of strictly of pure like I'm talking from a standpoint of understanding and experience in that field. So Diablo 3, I was doing modded items, I was doing hacked accounts, I was doing all kinds of shit. Not day one, but I did that to understand what went into doing that, right? To have a better understanding of how that works. I did bots on Diablo 2, and yeah, I do complain about it now, because back when I was a kid, I didn't think about it like that. Now that I'm grown up and I enjoy it, it's a lot different. I enjoy actually playing the game and not having everything done for me or everything preset before I'm immediately locking in, right? So let me give you an example. In D3, whenever a new season starts, what I would do is I would take my save game and I would edit my save game and basically give myself infinite amount of everything. Resources, riftstones, whatever, right? And I would have millions and millions and millions of everything. All the resources from the bounties, all the gems in the world, all everything, all the money, all everything. And what that did was you could just go to gamble, and then once you've gambled, you have like 30 million or 40 million blood shards and 20 million greater rift stones, and like, how am I ever gonna spend that? It's impossible, right? Like, you can't. So I would use that to gamble some gear, then upgrade it in the cube, and then that way you'll get primal items for basically everything. So you would have a the full set of primals in the first week of playing the new season. And if you go to the leaderboards in D3, that's what everybody's doing. If they don't wear modded items, then they're wearing all fucking primal gear. Or they're trying to hide it by wearing all ancient gear, but if you really start looking through the stats, these stats are impossibly good. It should have been a primal, but it's not. It's like one intelligence off being a primal, or whatever the fuck, right? But they're trying to hide that they're cheating. And that's why I went into that whole section of the game, is to understand how bad it was. And after understanding that and looking at the leaderboards and then figuring out the top 1,000 on the leaderboards is all a bunch of hackers and cheaters, right? I think that's all they got is cheating. It really took away from my experience of that game, and I felt like it wasn't worth playing anymore, and that's why I deleted it and haven't really played it since. I feel like this is gonna end up in the exact same direction as that was. And I don't think that there's any way we can save it, because they already done what they did. And as long as they're making money off the game, I don't really think they care about cheating. Um, the only time they care about cheating is when it goes so bad that everybody starts leaving the game. Then they'll do something to fix it. But other than that, they don't care. Doesn't matter. Yeah. That's it, man. As I said, I really hope that this informs you of my feeling of the game and what I think and how I see this moving forward. As I said, I'm personally not gonna play it. I'm way over that shit. It's not for me. If you don't agree, let me know. And if you're in the same mind space as I am, then I'm really sorry this wasn't what we were hoping for. I wish it could be different. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you come back for another video of some kind, of something else. It's probably not gonna be Diablo 4. Yeah, that's it.